Hello students, in the previous video we discussed various techniques that are used to illustrate mood and tone in a comic or a graphic novel. And today we are going to focus only on the use of color palette and its pivotal role in setting the mood. Students, have you ever wondered that when we read certain graphic novels, we feel dark and gritty? On the other hand, certain graphic novels ooze with vibrant energy. So what is the difference? The difference lies in the use of color palette. And today we are going to explore this magic and how color palette actually brings graphic novels to life. So let's talk about the use of color palette now. Colors actually play a very important role in setting the mood as well as the tone of a comic or a graphic novel. Thoughtful use of colors actually elevates comics' visual impact and also readers' engagement. Characters in a comic or a graphic novel often get associated with certain colors, and the color palette of comics helps in highlighting scenes and characters as well. Comics use the color theory to delineate emotions that are expressed in the story, enabling us to discern the tone and mood of the story with ease and comfort. And now if we talk about the major aspects of color palette and how it enhances the storytelling, we have three key points. First of all, it helps in creating atmosphere. Second, differentiating characters. And third, making scenes stand out. And we'll take each aspect in detail now. So let's talk about creating the atmosphere. Cooler tones like blues, greens and purples are used in mysterious or introspective scenes. So let's see an example for this. The moments when Batman languishes over in Gotham with the city skyline draped in shades of blue and purple. Warmer tones like reds, oranges and yellows actually create intensity and excitement. Let's have an example for this now. The climax or the final face-off between a hero and a villain enveloped in a palette of blazing oranges and reds, further amplifying the tension. So now let's talk about the second aspect of color palette, that is differentiating characters. And how does this happen? Colors actually are integral to a character's identity. How? Superman's red cape makes him so recognizable. Also, if we find some iconic palettes, Wolverine, yellow and blue, Spider-Man is known for his red and blue color, and Joker, purple and green. Also, colors hint at character traits like his temperament and also his evolution. For example, softer shades are used to denote virtue or gentleness, and darker shades like black, deep red, they show complexity or darkness in the character. Now let's talk about making scenes stand out. In making scenes stand out, we have certain aspects how color palette is used to highlight spotlighting. And what is spotlighting? When we use a distinct color to highlight key characters, objects and even moments. Also, second technique is contrasting colors and textures that enhance the scene dynamics. Example, swirls or ripples that show confusion and even time shifts. Making scenes stand out through flashbacks and time shifts. Sepia tones or grayscale actually indicate the past moments and also different perspectives as the visual is given here. Then emphasizing emotions, that is the most important characteristic of a color palette. Stark contrasts heighten dramatic moments in a comic or a graphic novel, and colors actually they evoke emotions such as joy, warmth, fear or even despair. So the use of color palette is really very important in a comic or a graphic novel. And now whenever you read any graphic novel, just try to understand the color palette and then you can have an entirely different experience. And for that, I have a very interesting task for you. You have to read this graphic novel, X-Men, God Loves, Man Kills. And you have to identify how the color palette reflects the mood and tone in this graphic novel. And then you have to identify how specific colors are associated with certain characters and what is the purpose of doing that. And finally, does the color palette change at any point in the story? If so, why? So I'm sure you are going to enjoy reading this graphic novel and I'm going to discuss this in the coming video. Till then, happy reading and happy enjoying the color palette in this graphic novel. Thank you.